If you had all the money in the world, all the time in the world, what would you be doing right now? You need to sit with yourself, call me back when you're ready to have a serious conversation about your growth, or you're going to have to be what we call removed from the roster. We have to get people in the workplace used to understanding that I could love you and not be intimate with you. You know, as a leader, I must first understand what love means to me. I love you guys, and this is why we pay you what we pay you. What is more life-changing than a woman that is grieving her son, that is grabbing on me and saying, hey, I need you. He said, thank you for how you handled me. Thank you for listening. He said, you know, tonight's going to be the first night that I'm going to get a good night's rest. Our workplaces are full of people with opinions. And where is the safe place where we can have that dialogue and hear each other and know that we're being heard? I don't use the word discipline, and I don't use the word terminate. I remove people from the roster. What's your dream? What is the thing that you want to do? If you say security, I'm kicking you out.
Welcome to the Culture from the Heart podcast on the From the Heart Business Network. In a business world where employees and customers crave authenticity and trust, hosts Larry Levine and Darrell are on a mission to find and showcase heart-centered executives and the companies they lead. You are about to hear an inspiring conversation with a visionary leader that's bringing heart into the workplace, empowering employees, serving their clients, and uplifting communities, all to create true success. This is Culture from the Heart. The movement starts here. Let's begin.
Welcome to Culture from the Heart. I'm your co-host, Darrell, here today with Larry Levine, and we're joined by Jamine Moton, the founder and CEO of Skylar Security, Skylar App, and Skylar Robotics, companies that are reshaping what safety and security look like in today's world. Welcome, Jamine. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Darrell.
We're going to have a great time. Thanks for joining us, Jamine.
Oh, yeah, we're excited. Thanks.
As we get started, you know the question we ask every guest on Culture from the Heart, and that is, what does Culture from the Heart mean to you?
It's the thing that I believe not only changes lives, but it exposes all of those things that you've learned and the authenticity of who you are in your everyday decisions. And I also believe that Culture from the Heart is not easy. It's probably one of the hardest things to do because it makes you look at yourself in the mirror every single day, every single decision, and make the right decision for not only yourself, but for that person that you're dealing with. So Culture from the Heart is a methodology. It's a vision. It's an emotion. It's a concept. It's morality. It's happiness. It's who you are in action. And I've come to embed that in my day, in my career. So,
and you know what I like about what you just said, Jamine, is you said life-changing, and it's interesting if we expand on that, because I really believe that is culture could be life-changing both personally and professionally inside of an organization. Would you mind expanding on that, please?
So I own a security guard company, and with security, you don't have the opportunity to get it wrong. And I believe that embedding the culture correctly is about life and safety. It is that serious to me. And I believe that security is an emotion. It's not a business. It's an emotion. Last time I checked, security was an emotion. We've made it a business, but it is an emotion. And because of that emotion, in our industry, we have to buy into this concept of how we show up as people affects our decisions in law enforcement and in the private sector. And so if you embed the culture correctly, then your decisions reflect that reflection of culture, right? It reflects that culture that you believe in. Now, what is right and what is moral is a whole nother conversation, right? But the decision you make reflects the culture that you embody, and it shows up in those decisions every single day, whether it's the community or the people. It shines through very, very loudly. You can't hide it. You can't hide it.
What a powerful observation that security is an emotion. And if you're going to provide security, the emotion of security, it's going to take people, it's going to take culture, it's going to take heart. When did you recognize, I'm curious, that culture was going to play such an important role in this company?
Yes. So I'll give you that 30-second response. I'm actually turning it into a book, but that's a conversation for another time. But I was a police officer in a local metropolitan community in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And I loved the community with a capital L. And I also understood that there was a punitive side of serving the community, right? My grandmother was punitive to me, and we'll just leave it like that. And when I went to college, I thanked her. I said, Mom, I was crying, like, thank you for, disciplining me all those years. I didn't understand that you were actually rearing me in the right direction. I didn't like it. I appreciated it. So there's a part of punitive that is important in policing and keeping our community safe. But there's another side. And you have to love the community. So the culture that I built for my company came out of how I policed. And I policed through the emotion of security. So when I would get the 911 call, of course, I would make sure that my safety is paramount, but also the safety of those people the homes I was walking into. They were my family. They were my sister. They were my brother. They were my grandmother. They were my auntie. They were my uncle. And so when I looked at them, I always believed that we're all one check away. Maybe some of us a couple checks away from being in that situation or one outburst away from the police being called on us. So I related to the people within seconds. I found a way to connect. And when you connect with people in policing, they trust you. They trust you to make the right decision. They trust you to hear them out. They trust you to weigh what's right in that decision. And they trust you to make the right decision as a result of that weighing. I've had people that I arrested tell me when I was a police officer, thank you for arresting me.
Wow.
I remember there's certain moments in my career that I will never forget. And I will never forget him laying in the back of my police car. And he said, thank you. He said, thank you for how you handled me. Thank you for listening. He said, tonight's going to be the first night that I'm going to get a good night's rest. So you don't even realize what you did back there. And I could not believe it. It stuck with me. Also, another moment I won't forget is this mother, her son was shot. I was a sergeant. I was getting ready to leave the police department to start my business full time and go all in. I'll never forget this moment. And as I was walking, I was, working with her through this whole process of seeing her son shot. And I said, listen, I'm going to meet you at the hospital. I get to the hospital. She grabs my arm and just grabs me in a way where all of her trust in that moment fell on me. And I felt the weight of that responsibility, that safety isn't just about weapons and those things that we think of when we think of policing. I believe that safety is the emotion of security. Safety is that lady grabbing my arm, realizing that in that moment, I was what she had. And I stayed with her that entire time until I felt like she was all right. And that's policing too. That's security, that's safety, but that's culture. And I did not realize, but in my journey as a police officer, it was building the methodology of what I now call Skylar Security. And I took all of those experiences, including me leaving policing. I loved it. I was, for the first time in my life, afraid to walk out the door. I mean, entrepreneurship is very difficult, but all of those moments together shaped what I am and what we are today. So you talk about life-changing. What is more life-changing than a woman that is grieving her son, that is grabbing on me and saying, hey, I need you, without opening up her mouth? She said, I need you right now. And I was emotionally intelligent enough to know exactly what she needed. And from there, the culture was built. And here we are today.
This is so good.
So good. Well, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll hear more about the story of Skylar Security from our friend Jamine. Let's be honest, finding the right people and building the right culture, that's the holy grail for every leader.
That's why we recommend Titus Talent, because they don't just fill seats. They help you build teams that thrive.
With their partnership plans, you get more than just hiring help. You get a committed team by your side that helps you attract top performers and retain them.
They bring strategy, data, and a human touch to talent optimization. No guesswork, just results.
So if you're ready to invest in your people and create a culture where everyone wins, head over to culturefromtheheart.com/talent to learn more.
That's culturefromtheheart.com/talent. Your culture is your competitive advantage. Design it with Titus Talent.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that message. Let's get back to our conversation with Jamine Moton, CEO and founder of Skylar Security. What an incredible set of stories that brought you to start the company and all of that. Jamine, I'm curious, when you think about the culture that you're building inside Skylar Security, what words would you use to describe the culture you envision?
Oh, that's a good one. Love. And I think it's a word that we don't use a lot in the workplace. Love of self and love of what you do. Love in a sense of how you show up every day. Care. But love is the word. And I actually use it in our orientation of the guards. And I have to prep them, because, love, I love you guys. And this is why we pay you what we pay you. I love you guys. This is why I give you the guard company. I'm taking the tech company. It's yours. This guard company is yours. So take care of it. But this tech company is where I'm going to get my wealth from. The guard company belongs to you. And it's because I care for them and I care about the mission enough to care about the people. I care about the people enough to care about the mission, and you can't separate it. And I believe as a leader, I must first understand what love means to me. I've always been a protector. I've always been the one that turns into the police at any time of the day. When you see somebody on the side of the road that has a flat tire, I'm compelled to help and lend a hand. It is who I am. I can't separate from that. So who I am outside of work, there's no separation. It's just Jamine Moton. I don't put on a suit jacket and become somebody else. Love is a word that sits inside of me. And so it comes out very naturally. We have to get people in the workplace used to understanding that I can love you and not be intimate with you. I love you and I can show you I care by listening to you when you holler or you're upset. And I've had it. And I've said, listen, I know you're upset. I missed it. And I'm sorry. Give me an opportunity to make it right. Or you're wrong. And you need to sit with yourself and call me back when you're ready to have a serious conversation about your growth. Or you're going to have to be what we call removed from the roster. And we have hard conversations that sit in care. And I've had almost every single person that has left our organization has called back and said, can I come back? Now, I haven't always said yes in full transparency, but they know there's something special here that maybe they didn't recognize at the time, but they were cared for.
Wow.
And maybe that's easier to say in the workplace, they were cared for, but in my heart, they were loved.
Yeah, I applaud you, Jamine, for bringing the L word into work, because I've always said this is if we can bring the word love and deep caring in our personal lives, in the four walls and the roof of our home, what's preventing us as a society to bring love and deep caring into the workforce? And I applaud you for this because there's a common theme that runs inside Culture from the Heart. A lot of CEOs that we've had on this podcast bring the L word into work.
Yes. And it's not easy to do that. Do you know how many times a CEO, like you said, the CEOs have to look in the mirror and become one with the mistakes that I've made in my life and the people that I've hurt in my life? Like, it's not something you wake up with. Like, you get help, you get therapy so that you can look at yourself in the mirror and learn how to love the world properly, even within a corporate structure where feelings and emotion are in some ways not welcomed. The good thing about it is in my profession, security is an emotion. And so you can't do what we do without it. I imagine in some segments of industry, it's probably a bit more difficult. But at the end of the day, Maslow's hierarchy of needs says that at the root of every person, there's 5 basic needs. And in that is security. It's at the bottom. You can't live life without feeling safe. And so we take that as our mission and our purpose, and we love on the community. When you see that homeless person walking across the street, that could have been my uncle, so you don't make fun of them. You don't, tease them, or you don't hit them. You talk to them. You figure out, how can I get you off of the property without disrespecting you? And they always leave. Or is there a resource that I can make a referral for? You figure out a way to connect with that person where they can feel the care and love.
Yeah, I'm curious, especially with, I'm assuming in your role, your team is scattered all over the place in different posts. How do you recognize and reward team members who embody the culture that you're envisioning here?
That's a good question. It's something that I've wrestled with for a long time. We're going on 7 years old. I've been in law enforcement my entire life, 25 plus years. But I've struggled with it on one side, but on another side, I believe I've nailed it. Let me tell you the comparison. So we call ourselves a boutique. And that boutique means that I am reachable. You can call me. I will show up for you, and I will listen to you and hear you. In building a team, you have to find people that connect and resonate with the culture that you built. And what I realized is if you marry your culture, people who are not culture fit will shine like the star. And it would behoove us to get them, remove them from the culture as smoothly as possible, right? Because they're going to underpin the thread of the culture. So I'm one person. I'm not Batman. I thought I was at one point. I split myself 1,000 different ways because, again, I love this stuff. But I learned that around year 3 and 4, 2, 3, 4, that I cannot, right around COVID, post-COVID, we got through COVID on my back. And I just said, okay, I've got to build a team. Built a team, and you just have to continue to reinforce culture in your processes. So it becomes less about Jamine and more about replicating myself in every single process and every single person. They can show love their way. I have what I call a bulldog. He's a bulldog. Like if he sees your shirt undone, he's like, he's on everything. Even his name's Fletcher. Even Fletcher knows how to love on the guards his way. And so there's a certain, you have to give people the opportunity to do it their way, but also understand that that is their way of showing love and care. And as long as it sits within the culture, it works. And so we've been very picky with the people that we bring on. But I will tell you this, I get my hands slapped all the time. Like, Jamine, we got it. Bye. Like, leave. And I'm like, it's the employees want to be seen. They want the CEO and the executives to see them. And that's part of it. Maslow, connectivity, family support system. They get so bright and smiley when they see me show up on site. It's not me. It's just the vision, right? And so when I see them, I get excited. They see me. It's just a really nice time. And, I don't know what national scale or global scale looks like, but I'll tell you, in Atlanta, we are loving on these guards. And as much as I can replicate myself in this world, I will. And we will go as far as the love and the care for extends. I told my team, if we no longer care for community, we're too big. And that's how I predict growth. And I've slowed us down several times because we missed the mark. So as long as we're able to grow and care for our community and our teams, then we're doing the right thing.
All right. Well, you're listening to Culture from the Heart. And when we return, Jamine's going to talk more about this culture of security. We'll see you in a moment.
For many CEOs, sales feels like a black box.
You've got visibility into marketing metrics, financial dashboards, operational KPIs. But when it comes to the sales team, it feels like guesswork.
That black box, it's costing you, because if you can't see what's happening, you can't fix what's broken or fuel what's working.
That's where the sales index steps in. It opens the black box of sales and shows you the real story. Who's thriving, who's struggling, where they need help, and how much revenue is being left on the table.
You'll get clear, actionable data on sales behavior, mindset, and team culture, so you know exactly where to invest and how to drive growth.
So stop flying blind. Go to salesindex.ai and mention Culture from the Heart for 10% off an index of your sales team.
Sales Index, because when sales stops being a black box, you start unlocking real sales results.
And we're back. Thanks for sticking with us. Let's dive right back into this great conversation with Jamine. We talked in the first segment about security being an emotion. And I know this is something that when you think about cultures across every organization, I think that every CEO would say, I want our people to feel safe in this organization. I'm curious, if you think about this concept of culture of security, creating a culture where people feel secure, what advice would you give to other leaders that are listening in?
I would say, whether it's security or a non-security industry, one of the things that I did is it started with me, but that very first employee, that second employee, that third employee, you build it from hello, but you build it from how you treat your people, how you hire your people, how you terminate your people. So we have something within Skylar that says, I don't use the word discipline and I don't use the word terminate. I remove people from the roster, and removing people from the roster is not a bad thing. I'll never forget this guy. He could not get his uniform right. And I don't know what the barrier was, but I really liked him. I said, I see your potential. And I went to the site and did it myself. I removed him from the roster myself, and I gave him a hug. And he said, Jamine, I'm sorry to let you down. I'm sorry to let you down. And I said, I don't know what's going on in your life, but I need you to take this time to figure out what it is, because it's going to be a barrier if you don't figure it out. And he gave me a hug. I gave him a hug. And I said, hey, listen, the door's always open. Come back and see us if you can figure out what it is, because I see your potential. Every person, the other thing that we do, and I'll end it with that. But the other thing that we do is we tell people to always find the greater thing. So when we hire them, Skylar, even when I ran track at Clemson, that was about a bigger purpose. It wasn't just about Clemson. It was about what is this thing preparing me for in my life? So Skylar for these guards, it's a pass-through. It's about the next thing. So when I hire them, I'm telling them, you need to tell me, how are you going to utilize Skylar? And they look at me like, what? I just want a job. Like, I don't want to think about this. I just want a job. There's plenty of people that will hire you, but here we are purpose-driven. So you have to tell me, how are you going to utilize Skylar for your next big thing? What's your dream? What is the thing that you want to do? And I tell them, if you say security, I'm kicking you out. And they're like, because people give you the answer that you want when they, when you're interviewing. I want to be the security guard. I'm like, nope, that's not going to work here. So tell me what it is. They'll say, you know what? I've always thought about being a mobile mechanic. And I talk about, if I had another job, I'd be a mobile. I have plenty of them that come to my house and work on my cars. I love it. Right. Tell me more. I want to be the CEO of a daycare, or I want to go back to school, or I want to change my career. You hear all of these things that you wouldn't have otherwise heard if you didn't ask the question. What is your dream job? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I asked the question, if you had all the money in the world and all the time in the world, what would you be doing right now? And don't say vacation. And they look at me and they're like, you know what? No one's ever asked me that question. And it makes them dig really, really deep within and find out that thing about themselves that they've never been challenged for. So they don't have an answer. I say, okay, I'm giving you a year to give me that answer. And then the money you make from this job, you need to put it in the savings so that you can go do that thing. I've had people start photography businesses, media businesses. I mean, we can go on and on. We have to start with culture. You have to know the purpose and the mission that you're trying to build. And like I said, it starts with one, 2, and 3, but at the end of the day, it starts with you. Those processes that you build inside your organization have to reflect the culture that you believe in. It's hard to do, but it's possible.
Oh, Jamine, this is so good. Okay, Jamine, it's time to dig a little bit. So You ready?
Yes.
You used a word that's near and dear. It's dreams. So I'm going to ask you to reflect for a moment. As a CEO, what's your dreams and aspirations for Skylar?
So I would love to see Skylar Security, the boutique, in 5 to 10 major cities across the US. I would love to help these robot companies figure out how to interject the emotion into AI, machine learning, and technology. If you're going to bring robots, which we're bringing them, right? We brought some of the first autonomous patrol vehicles to Atlanta. But if you're going to bring robots into a security sector, let me help them figure out how to keep that emotion in there. You can't do it with just the robots. You have to do it with a hybrid. You can't take the human away in security like you can in a manufacturing plant. It's very different. So I want to be a part of that transition, and we are. I also want to see Skylar lead the way in the conversation around culture, around security being an emotion. I'll say this. Our country is going through a lot right now. All you got to do is turn on the TV and look at the news. We have to have people who understand emotion, that understand how to listen to each other, how to have hard conversations, and get to the root of what is the need of the individual, what is the need of the community. Our workplaces are full of people with opinions. And where is the safe place where we can have that dialogue and hear each other and know that we're being heard? That's what it's going to take. I also am currently studying for law school. So I'm looking at going to law school because I want to continue to do my part in helping our world shape itself. So we want to lead the way in security, whether it's nationally, locally, or globally. And we're starting in Atlanta and working our way through.
Beautiful. What an incredible story. And I want to sign up. I'm so excited right now.
I'm cheering you on,
Coach. So good. Jamine, thank you so much for sharing your heart with us today, for investing in all of us. And we are absolutely cheering you on.
Oh, thank you. Glad to be here.
Our pleasure.
Love it.
Thank you.
Love it. What an incredible conversation, Larry.
No, so good. And I just got to go back to the words that I just kept hearing all the time. Security, love, and caring. As CEOs and leaders who are watching this, I just want you just to reflect for a moment. Just think about internally the people in your company. Do you love them? And are you really caring for them? Are you making them feel secure?
Thank you to everybody who's listening in. And we're just having so much fun bringing these conversations, telling these stories of heart-centered, culture-first leaders. If you know one, go to culturefromtheheart.com and nominate them. We'd love to talk to them on this show and share their stories with you. So we believe that Culture from the Heart is the heartbeat of every organization. And as Jamine has reminded us, it's about creating a culture of security and love. So thank you for joining us today on Culture from the Heart. Until next time, lead with your heart and watch your culture thrive.
Thank you for joining us on this journey to discover heart-centered leaders shaping extraordinary company cultures. To access a leader guide with notes from this week's episode, simply click the link in the show notes or visit us at www.culturefromtheheart.com. Do you know a CEO who's built a culture from the heart? We'd love to hear their story. Head over to www.culturefromtheheart.com and click the Nominate Your CEO button. Until next time, remember, great cultures start with the heart.